Ether Drift, the Commander Update, and some innovative decks ignited the market this week. This video is sponsored by Flipside Gaming. Check out flipsidegaming.com for all your gaming needs. Right now you can order Ether Drift products there or find a vast number of other great items on their website. Remember, shipping is free in the United States if your order is over $100 or consists only of singles. Just look in the description or comment section below for direct links to their site. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. Alright, we're going to get through this one together. I got a little case of the flu. I'm actually feeling a lot better. I'm not too bad, but the show must go on, and we have a lot to talk about today. Like I said in the cold open, the market is red hot this week, so we'll be looking at 10 cold cards moving down in price and 20 hot cards that are moving up. We'll move quickly through the cold cards and spend more time examining why the cards moving up in price are heating up. As always, our lists are based on two pieces of criteria: the percentage increase in the value of the cards, as well as the change in the number of sales from week to week. Couple of quick things before we get started, though. I do want to say thank you to one of our gold patrons, Marcos Ong. Marcos, thank you for all your support for the channel. It means the world. Truly couldn't do this without the patrons and the channel members. Your support truly goes a long way. So thank you again, Marcos. And I also want to say thank you to a viewer who gave a super thanks tip last week, and that is Todd Branch. Todd, thank you for all the support you've shown the channel through Patreon, through your tips. As always, it does mean a lot to me and really helps me maintain the channel. So thank you. And now, without any further ado, let's get into it. We'll begin with the top 10 coldest cards of the week. Many of our cold cards this week are cards that have recently spiked but are now trying to find their correct price point. So let's get started with number 10. Abstergo Entertainment. It goes down $1.01 to $2.31. That's a 30% decrease. This might actually be good in commander decks around the new Ether Drift card, Ketchermos, the New Dawn. But regardless, Abstergo Entertainment is still moving down. Number 9 is Demi-Lich, down $1.01 to $4.05 for a 20% decrease. Number 8, Jace the Perfected Mime, down $1.20 to $7.25. That's a 14% decrease. Number 7, Wall of Stolen Identity. This is from the Commander 2019 Mystic Intellect deck. It goes down $1.43 to $3.47. That's a 29% decrease. Alchemist Talent. A week ago, this was number 7 on the cold list. Last week it reached number 4. This week it drops 2 spots to number 6, and it is down $1.75 to $12.08 for a 13% decrease. Remember, a new shipment of Bloomburrow Commander decks hit stores a few weeks ago, which led to price drops for several cards. Each Bloomburrow Commander deck has an exclusive talent spell that cannot be pulled anywhere else, including collector boosters. This is the exclusive talent that was in the Animated Army deck. Number 5, Spawning Kraken. This is from the Commander 2021 Quantum Quandrix Commander deck. It is down $1.87 to $14.50 for an 11% decrease. Number 4, Constant Mist, down $2.27 to $14.54. That's a 14% decrease. Number 3, Teferi's Response, down $2.54 to $17.40. That's a 13% decrease. Here's Pest Control 3 weeks ago. This was number 15 on the hot list. 2 weeks ago, it came in at number 5. A week ago, it was 6. Last week, it was 5 again. Finally, this week, it retracts some and lands at the number 2 spot on the cold list. It is down $2.78 to $22.22 for an 11% decrease. And number 1 is Sands of Time. A week ago, this was number 14 on the hot list. Last week, it peaked at number 2. This week, it arrives on the cold list and takes the top spot. It is down $4.08 to $10.92. That's a 27% decrease. Last week, I said that I thought copies of this reserve list card would be sold back into the marketplace relatively soon, and that appears to be happening now. And that brings us to the main event, the top 20 hottest cards of the week, starting with number 20, Sarcomancy. This is actually down 7 spots this week, but it's up $2 to $10 for a 25% increase. This reserve list card has been getting more play recently in the pre-modern format. Pre-modern has been having a larger impact on card prices, and this is another example. Granted, it doesn't take too much to spike a reserve list card since any movement will catch the attention of speculators. Regardless though, Sarcomancy frequently appears in pre-modern mono-black aggro builds. Number 19, Hull Breacher from Commander Legends. It is up $2.11 to $3.85. That's a 121% increase. First off, this appears in Vintage Jewel Shops, Underworld Breach, and Paradoxical Outcome. Hull Breacher is also a solid card in 1v1 dual Commander, where it's found in several decks, including the popular Aragorn King of Gondor builds. However, the reason this is creeping up has nothing to do with the play it's currently seeing. This week, Gavin Verhey discussed generally what Wizards was planning for the regular Commander format now that they have taken over from the prior Commander Rules Committee. He talked about 5 different power level Commander brackets they are considering for the format, as well as the cards that they refer to as game changers, which will help determine the strength of a deck. He went on to say that potentially they may unban some cards along with the addition of these Commander brackets. And shockingly, that's all it took to motivate some players and speculators to pick up copies of cards that they think could become unbanned. Hull Breacher is one of those cards since it is legal in 1v1 Dual Commander. However, we'll have to wait and see what the future holds for this. Number 18 is Komainu Battle Armor, up 240 to 567, that's a 73% increase. This is the one from the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Upgrades Unleashed Commander deck, and copies of this card did dry up online this week. Currently it's played in a few Commander decks, including Alexios Deimos of Cosmos and Nelly Borka Impulsive Accuser. But honestly, I've not seen Komainu Battle Armor appearing in any deck list fueled by new cards. I wouldn't be surprised if this settles back down quickly when sellers see this price bump and more copies enter the marketplace. Number 17 is Clever Scab. It's up 270 to 690, that's a 64% increase. This is from the Innistrad Midnight Hunt Undead Unleashed Commander deck. Clever Scab appears in a few Commander builds. The most popular one is around the front-facing Commander from its pre-con, Wilhelt the Rockcleaver. You also see it indexed around 2 cards that were recently reprinted, the Scarab God, which was included in the Aetherdrift Eternal Might Commander deck, and Grimgrin Corpseborn, which was in Innistrad Remastered. However, that aforementioned Eternal Might deck is why this card is jumping now. Many players are getting Clever Scab to upgrade that deck, while others are putting it in fresh builds around the front-facing Commander from there. Temet Nakataman's Will. Number 16 is Relentless Dead, up 281 to 1419. It's a 25% increase. This too gets a little Commander play in a few different builds. Again, one of the more popular ones is around Wilhelt the Rockcleaver. However, you also see Relentless Dead around the recently reprinted The Scarab God and Grimgrin Corpseborn. It appears in other zombie-centric decks in the format too, but the real reason this is jumping is due to the release of that Aetherdrift Eternal Might Commander deck. Players are grabbing Relentless Dead to upgrade the build or to add to fresh decks around Temet Nakataman's Will from there. However, be careful with this one. It turns out there is a retro frame foil version of this included in the Festival in a Box 2025 product. So it's not a wide release, but there's more copies of Relentless Dead entering the marketplace now. Number 15, Biorhythm. The Onslaught copy is up 248 to 868, that's a 40% increase. The 9th edition one is up 369 to 924, that's a 66% increase. This does see some play in pre-modern Elves decks, but pre-modern isn't responsible for the spike this time. Biorhythm is currently banned in Commander. Because of Gavin Verhey's announcement, some are speculating that this could become unbanned in the format. Personally, I think this spec is a long shot because it takes away key things that make Commander Commander. The high life totals and the importance of Commander damage. I guess we'll see though. Coming in at number 14 for the second week in a row, Charismatic Conqueror. It's up 398 to 1694, that's a 31% increase. This is from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan Blood Right's Commander deck. You see it in several Commander builds like Clevel Enyo First of the Blessed from its pre-con for example, but the most popular deck that runs it by far is Edgar Markov. Edgar was just reprinted in Innistrad Remastered and a whole new group of players are finally getting a chance to build around the card. That's why key cards for Edgar builds like Charismatic Conqueror have been hot. Down 9 spots this week to number 13, Wilhelt the Rockcleaver. This is up 409 to 1977, that's a 26% increase. This is the foil copy that comes with the Innistrad Midnight Hunt Undead Unleashed Commander deck. It's a highly played Commander, and the Aetherdrift Eternal Might deck is bringing some good tools for Wilhelt builds. Wilhelt is in the 99 of some zombie decks too, including one around the Scarab God, which as I mentioned did get reprinted in Eternal Might. You also see this in Gisa and Giraffe as well as Grimgrin Corpseborn, which were both reprinted in Innistrad Remastered. And of course many players and speculators are grabbing this because it is a great upgrade to that Eternal Might Commander deck. Additionally, Wilhelt is solid in fresh builds around both Temet Nakataman's Will and Hashatan Scarab's Fist from there. Number 12, Currency Converter, up 477 to 1246, that's a 62% increase. This is from the Streets of New Capenna Obscura Operation Commander deck. Traditionally, it's only been in a few Commander builds and some 1v1 dual Commander decks. In regular Commander, you might have seen this in Shroom the Hegemon or Urza Lord High Artificer, for example. So why is Currency Converter heating up now? Turns out this plays well with a number of cards from Aether Drift. Some players want it to upgrade the Eternal Might Commander deck, others want it for fresh builds around Temet Noctamon's Will, and Hashatan Scarab's Fist from there. Currency Converter is also showing up in Commander builds around a couple of cards from the main set, Ketramos the New Dawn, and Captain Howler Sea Scourge. Number 11 is Astral Dragon. It goes up 528 to 1359, that's a 64% increase. This is from the Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate Draconic Descent Commander deck. Here's another card that was just seeing a little bit of play until recently. It would appear in Miram Sentinel Worm Commander decks or Amanatu the Fate Shifter 1v1 dual Commander builds, but now Aether Drift is pushing this card too. Some players want Astral Dragon to upgrade Eternal Might, while others are picking it up for fresh builds around Hashatan Scarab's Fist from there. Quickly before we get to the top 10, just a fast reminder, this video is sponsored by Flipside Gaming. Check out flipsidegaming.com for all your gaming needs. Right now, you can currently pick up Aether Drift products or grab any number of other great items on their website, Magic related or otherwise. Remember, if your order is over $100 or consists only of singles, shipping will be free in the United States. And if you're looking for a direct link to their site, just check out the description or comment section below. I do have links posted in both of those places. And now, without any further ado, let's get to the top 10. Number 10, Primeval Titan. The Magic 2011 copy up 314 to 1323. That is a 31% increase. The Iconic Masters copy is up 383 to 1299. That's a 42% increase. Magic 2012 up 402 to $13. That's a 45% increase. Time Spiral Remastered up 481 to 1407. That's a 52% increase. And the Modern Masters 2015 copy is up 555 to 1412. That's a 65% increase. Even though Modern has changed a lot, the Amulet Titan build featuring this card is still performing extremely well. In fact, these builds came in first place last weekend at the Regional Championship and the Star City Games Modern 10K in Portland, and that is part of the reason Primetime is spiking. You also see Primeval Titan in Modern Titan Shift, and it appears in Azusa Lost but Seeking 1v1 dual Commander decks, but you know where it doesn't show up? Regular Commander, because it's banned there. That's right, this is also jumping in part because of the speculation around potential Commander unbannings. I think this is one of the more realistic specs, but we'll see. Up one spot this week to number 9, Diregraph Colossus. The Shadows over Innistrad copy up 467 to 1199, that's a 64% increase. The Innistrad Midnight Hunt Undead Unleashed Commander deck copy is up 649 to 1339, that's a 94% increase. This is a fantastic card for Commander Zombie builds where you see it around several different commanders. For example, it's in builds around recently reprinted cards like the Scarab God, Gisa and Drolf, as well as Grim Grin Corpseborn. Not too long ago, it even saw increased commander play around a card from Magic the Gathering Foundations, Zulashur Lichlord. Plus, as you probably guessed by now, many players are getting Diregraph Colossus to upgrade the new Eternal Might Commander deck, while others are adding it to fresh builds around Temet Noctamon's Will and Hashatan Scarab's Fist from there. For all those reasons and more, Diregraph Colossus is spiking again this week. Number 8, Kozilek's Return. Oath of the Gatewatch up $5.10 to $12. That's a 74% increase. The Modern Horizons 3 Commander copy from the Eldrazi Incursion deck is up $7.54 to $12.99. That's a 138% increase. First, this does see a little Commander play. It's in builds around the front-facing Commander from its pre-con Ululek Fused Atrocity. It's also in Hiragast, Erupting Nullkite, and more. But Modern is the key driver for this price spike. The Banned and Restricted List update from December really shook up the meta, and players are still discovering which cards are top tier. One of the biggest builds right now in Modern is Eldrazi Ramp, and of course this card is a 4 of in there. Typically, you see 3 copies in the main and 1 in the sideboard. Additionally, this is in Through the Breach, but Eldrazi Ramp is the key driver for the price spike. Number 7 is Reaver Titan, up 904 to 2103, that's a 75% increase. This is from the Warhammer 40k Forces of the Imperium Commander deck. It's a harder to find vehicle spiking now because of the vehicle support coming from Aether Drift. Reaver Titan is in several commander decks that are getting new tools thanks to that set. One example is Greasefang Okiba Boss. I'm also seeing many players putting this in a new commander build around a card from Aether Drift's main set, Koladon Triumph Caster. This one is up 14 spots this week to number 6, Hordewing Scab, up 1018 to 1498, that's a 212% increase. This is another card from the Innistrad Midnight Hunt Undead Unleashed Commander deck. It too has been a popular card for Commander Zombie builds, appearing in decks around several commanders like the front-facing commander from its precon, Wilhelm the Rock Cleaver, recently reprinted cards like the Scarab God, Grimgrin Corpseborn, as well as Gisa and Giralf. It's also in Verena Lich Queen, but as you may have guessed by now, however, the main reason Hordewing Scab's price is jumping is because it is a good upgrade to the Eternal Might commander deck. Players and speculators are scrambling for potential upgrades for the build, and this is one that they've locked onto. I'm also seeing Hordewing Scab in fresh deck lists around a couple cards from the product. You know them and love them by now. Temet Nakataman's Will and Hashatan Scarab's Fist. Number 5, Simulacrum Synthesizer, up $11 to $42.99. That's a 34% increase. This is from the Outlaws of Thunder Junctions, the Big Score subset, so it is a more difficult pull than any card from the main set. It appears in several decks in multiple formats. In Standard, this is in Azorius Artifacts. Over in Pioneer, it appears in Metalwork Colossus. Meanwhile, in Vintage, you see it in Jewel Shops. But Commander is the key driver for this price spike as well. Simulacrum Synthesizer has been in a few decks there, including Urzalor High Artificer and Iron Man Titan of Innovation, but now Aetherdrift is making this a more sought-after card. First, some players want to add it to the Aetherdrift Living Energy Commander deck, while others are putting in fresh builds around the front-facing commander from there, Saheeli Radiant Creator. The commander deck that is really pushing Simulacrum Synthesizer, though, is around a card from the main set that is Mendicant Core Guidelight. Number 4, Ranger Captain of Eos from Modern Horizons, up $18.51 to $46. That's a 67% increase. First off, this is getting a lot of play in Modern. It is now appearing more often in the wildly popular Boros Energy decks, and that is part of the reason for the spike you see here. It also has a presence in Jeskai Energy, which does get a fair amount of play, plus it's in Selesnya Blink, Naya Energy, and Bamp Blink. Over in 1v1 Dual Commander, Ranger Captain of Eos shows up in Felia Exuberant Shepherd builds, and it appears in several regular commander decks too. For example, Ranger is often in Thrasios Triton Hero and Tymna the Weaver partner builds. Again though, Aetherdrift is driving this card's price to a degree as well. Lots of players are getting this to upgrade the Eternal Might deck, while others are putting it in fresh commander builds around Hashatan Scarab's Fist from there. Number 3, Jeweled Lotus, the Commander Legends copy, up $59.62 to $94.62. That is a 170% increase. The Commander Masters copy, up $61.04 to $94.64. That's a 182% increase. Well, you can only cast the Commander with the mana from this card, but it's banned in Commander, so it doesn't see play anywhere. However, this was one of the cards that upset a lot of people when it was banned in the format last year, and now some players and speculators are banking on the possibility that this will become unbanned, at least for higher power commander bracket decks, once Wizards re-examines the ban list. I guess we'll have to see how Wizards feels about fast mana in Commander going forward, but I could see this card possibly becoming unbanned in the future. Number 2 is Dockside Extortionist, the one from the list, up $50.33 to $80. That's a 170% increase. The Double Masters 2022 copy, up $57.75 to $72.45. That's a 393% increase. The Commander 2019 copy from the Mystic Intellect deck is up $67.15 to $79.99. That is a 523% increase if you're doing the math at home. Same story here. After Gavin Verhey's Commander announcement, which we discussed earlier, this card spiked as players and speculators thought that it too could become unbanned for higher power commander brackets. This was another one of last year's bannings that upset a lot of players. We'll see if Dockside Extortionist can make it off the dreaded ban list this year. And finally, coming in at number 1, Mana Crypt. The Eternal Masters copy up $43.03 to $100. That's a 76% increase. The Double Masters copy up $89 to $149. That's a 148% increase. And the Mystery Booster copy goes up a whopping $120.94 to $180.94 for a 202% increase. Third verse, same as the first. This was another card that was banned in Commander last year, resulting in a lot of angst within the community. Like the last two cards, many believe that it will soon be unbanned for those higher power commander brackets after Gavin Verhey's update this week. Again, we can only wait and see if this comes off the commander ban list, but right now many players are gambling on it. At least though, this does see play currently in Vintage. It appears in lots of decks there, including Jewel Shops, Mono White Initiative, Sphere Shops, Lurrus Paradoxical Outcome, Other Shops, Oops All Spells, Regular Paradoxical Outcome, Underworld Breach, Eldrazi, and sometimes Oath of Druids. But again, the commander speculation is driving the price spike. So I made it through. Thank you all for sticking with me. I will be doing another video later in the week. I don't know if I'm going to do a Commander deck tech this week, or maybe something a little shorter and focus on Ether Drift some. Until next time, that way, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a like and subscribe, and have a great day.
Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.